I didn't go out the way I wanted to go out. Um, and again, that's not a regret. But I just didn't go out the way I wanted to go out. And so there's always in the back of my head like, oh, do you have one more record in you? And you know, I got the name. I already know what it is. I've had the name for years. Are you recording?
All right, there it is. Hey, so I am now on the line with a Mr. Phil Kennedy, aka Think Twice.
You got it.
Hey, come
That's
on
me.
now. You are from Vancouver, British Columbia, is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, that's where I'm at right now. I grew up. I grew up on a place called Vancouver Island, which is just like maybe an hour outside of Vancouver by ferry. Um, but yeah, I've been in Vancouver for the past 10 years now, and before that, Spence and I were in Montreal for shoot. I was there for almost a decade
Okay.
too. Yeah, so I was there for quite a while.
Hey,
been around a little bit.
hey, so if I'm not mistaken, man, you are one half of the duo Specifics, is that correct?
Specifics.
I'm not sure how to say it, man. Is it specifics or
Don't,
what?
hey, as long as you don't get a twist, I'm good.
Come on now. Come on now, bro. So I mean, we were chatting on Messenger and everything, man. I told you, man, dude, you are probably one of my top favorite producers, man. When you were in the scene, man.
I'll tell. It's a pretty heavy compliment, man.
Hey,
There's a lot of people I look up to, and to be included with some of those names is definitely paying me a pretty big compliment for sure.
oh man, come on now, man. I told you, bro. Um, I first heard about specifics. It was either middle school or high school, man. You guys got put on a Nujabes CD. It was that track Under the Hood.
Hmm. Hmm.
Big bro, that joint was a banger, but I had that song on so long, man.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that song definitely put us on in a big way. Um, and Nujabes like you know put us on big time. Like we got a really big cosign out of him. That record blew us up in Japan and led to a lot of things for both of us. Um, and it was it's a funny story behind that record. I don't know if Spence told it to you. We did the record that you would know and you would hear, which is like the version. We did that in like a dorm room with like a $50 mic and some crappy gear and stuff like that. And then that was like Nujabes heard that record and was like, I love this. Like I want to like press up a 12-inch. I want to put this on a compilation. And we were like, oh my God, this is amazing. Let's go into a studio and re-record it. So we re-record it. Um, Sounded a little bit different. We pressed up like 5,000 12-inches. We sent them to him, like we shipped it out to Japan, and he calls us. He's like, "What's this song?" And we're like, "That's Under the Hood. That's what you wanted." And he's like, "That's not the song I wanted."
So
so,
what did y'all
so we
change?
were. Was that?
What did y'all change? Did y'all change
Well,
something
we
or?
we like we didn't change. We didn't really change anything. We just re-recorded it. But I mean, like with so many records, like especially with vocals, I mean, like the take is the take, right? And I mean, and capturing that moment with Spence and everything, that you can't always recreate, like a hit record or whatever, right? And so we sent it to him, and he was like, "This is not what I wanted. This is not what I paid for." We're like, we're like, okay, can you destroy those and we'll press up the original one and send it to you? Give us like, I don't know what, probably like another 2 months to like call the record plant, repress. So I mean, we made about $0 on that whole endeavor, but obviously that led to everything that came after it. So wasn't a loss in any way, but it was one of those hard lessons to learn right out of the gate.
Okay, man. So I'm not in the music scene, all the music industry, man. So I don't even know what happened, bro. But that sounds crazy. Let me
Just don't just give the people what they want. Don't go messing with it. That's the only thing you got to know. You know what I'm saying?
okay, bro. I think I really want to start this interview out, man. I really want to hear from you, man. I've never had the chance to visit Canada, to visit Vancouver, Columbia, man. I'm very curious to hear from you, man. What was your childhood like growing up in Vancouver?
Sure. Um, so I mean, like I said, I grew up outside of Vancouver, but it's kind of one and the same. Grew up in Victoria. Pretty pedestrian childhood. Go to school and stuff like that. Um, I both my parents were involved with music. My dad was a musician and owned a record store, but I lost him when I was about 8 years old, and then was with my mom. Single mom for the rest of my childhood, and she was a music teacher, kind of teaching in schools, and then when I was grade 10, she went back to school to get some additional education, and we actually moved down to Seattle for a year, and I got exposed to um, just going down to a big American city, and coming from a smaller city. So that was kind of a trip to go down there and just be in that whole thing, and then came back and um, finished up school in Victoria, and then headed out to Montreal, and that's for university, and that's where Spence and I hooked up.
Okay, okay. I don't want to I don't want to get too deep for you, man. I don't know. You don't have to answer this question, man.
Hmm.
But seeing the person who you are today,
Hmm.
um, could you put into words, I guess, how losing your father at an early age, how did that affect you, man? Can you put that into words?
Um, is my father had some substance abuse issues, and so it wasn't like I had like you know a happy family, like everything, and like not a happy, like a regular family as it were, and then he's not there anymore. He was kind of in and out of my life, and so um, obviously losing a parent, either a mother or father, is tough for a kid. Any way it happens. I think for me, I think it got tougher as I grew up. In the moment, obviously, you're distraught, you're crying, you lost a parent. But I guess it's only when you go older, and now being a father myself, not having that person around, to be able to ask them things, because it's like you have two people that kind of made you or whatever, and you only kind of get one perspective, right? When you grow up in a single family, so single parent family. So it's I think that's mostly the effect that it's had on me, is just not being able to ask that person questions, that as you're growing up, and stuff like that. So it's I guess I'm used to it. I don't know anything else, so I can't say that it affects me in one way or the other. But I think that, looking back on it, that's probably the thing that I miss the most about that situation and how it happened.
Yeah, that's super tough, man. I'm super sorry to hear that, man. Super late, but
It's yeah. I mean, I appreciate it, but yeah, it's, man. I in a lot of other ways that been blessed when I look around at situations even right now that people are in with COVID, and all that kind of stuff, and we all have our struggles that we go through, and I'm just glad that I made it out the other side in one piece.
yeah, man, bro, I understand that, man. I'm curious, man. What were you kind of said you were into music, man. What were some of your childhood hobbies? What did you enjoy doing, man?
Shit, man, I just ride my skateboard and listen to music. That's it. try to try to make sure I pass school.
Hey,
That's it.
okay, so tell me that in Vancouver Island, man. Who were some of your favorite music artists growing up, man?
Um, I mean, when I was real young, I was just listening to whatever's popular, right? So any of that kind of late '90s music when grunge hit, when ska hit, and then obviously that late '90s wave of when hip hop started taking over the charts and stuff like that, and that's probably when um, I know Spence spoke on it a little bit, but like we're of the age of like if it wasn't on the TV on like MTV or on the radio, like it's kind of hard to find music, right? And so you kind of are at that mercy. So I think like Napster or LimeWire was like grade
I remember
11.
that. Yeah, I
You know what
remember
I'm
that.
saying? And when that hit, then we were like, oh, like on dial up.
Come on now.
And so when that hit, that's when you were really able to get out and get into music. So I mean, late high school, I was listening to Gangstar, I was listening to Tribe, Common. I'm trying to think who else. I mean, I'm West Side Till I Die, so obviously Pac, Snoop, everybody, right? You cannot escape. What was that big? Bone Thugs. You can't. That's everywhere. You can't escape that out here. So yeah, I was into that quite a bit. And then I think, man, I don't think when did Fantastic Volume 2 come out?
Ooh,
That might have been like
some Bill.
that's like
What you
yeah,
know about
SV was
man?
that was I could look it up, but whenever that record came out, and like again, like that record, now obviously like streaming you can get it, but like that was a hard record to find. So I just remember like in university, like trying to download those tracks, man, like just trying to find somebody that had them and like get those pieces. um and then obviously like you kind of, and I'll say this too, man, like you know, I would be reading liner notes, right? Because I would try to be like, who produced this record? Like, who they sample? Like, who's the writers on this record, right? And so again, like now with streaming, like I love it. It's so easy to like go down a rabbit hole on if you find a record that you like, you find out who produced it, you can go find everything else they've done, and you can just like go, right? But then you're like who's JD? Or yeah, it was JD at that point. It wasn't Dilla yet, right? It was like who's JD? It's like not Jermaine Dupri. Like who's JD, right? Who's the like who are these people like working with? And so I think like once I got into that vein and like that whole Detroit scene with people Dilla were working with, like who else came out? Like Frank and Dank came out, Fat Cat came out, all those guys, right? Like I started going down that road with that, right? And um, who else was listening to? Reflection Eternal when that record dropped, right?
Most in quality.
Reflection Eternal is
Is
Quality
it-
of Tech,
Oh,
right?
okay, okay,
Right, and then it's shit. Black Star is
okay.
most in Quality, right?
Okay.
But again, like High Tech was a big influence on me. Tech, Dilla, obviously like Madlib, Loop Pack, like all of that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, it was like thinking back to it, right? You'd be going to the record store, you're like buying a 12-inch, you're like, you only get one song on it, you're like playing the hell out of it, you're like, how can I get more, right? But you're broke as hell, you don't have any money because you're a college student, right? So it's like, I hope this record's good. Whereas now, right, you just pay your whatever $10 a month and consume as much music as you want. So yeah, it was tough to it was thinking back to it was fun, right? Because it's like there's way more. It's like work, right? It's like discovery, right? To like get in and like find those records, and then you're also like you're limited to where you are, right? Like their record store buyers are only going to buy stuff they think they can sell, right? So like again, like Slum Village was a tough record to get, like in like Montreal or like wherever, right? Um, so yeah, I mean that's kind of going on here, but like that's the story.
That's, I would keep it 100. You would drop in so many names, bro, and I think it's so crazy, man. Because like I'm from Virginia, and my father is
Timber,
area.
Timberland, man, Neptunes, Missy, Clips.
Yeah,
That's a rich, that's
yeah.
a rich breeding ground, man.
But I think it's so
VA.
And because I guess like music is universal though, so it's like the same music I was listening to even in Vancouver Island. You know what I'm saying? You still in the same genres, man, which is
Mhm.
super amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really a testament to, like I was saying, like just when the internet and like MP3s became a thing, and you could just get out there and you could find music, right? Instead of being, as I just said, limited to what your local record store, your local radio station. Even now, man, like you listen to the radio, right? And you're like, oh shit, I love that song. Or not the radio. I don't know who listens to the radio, but like whatever streaming service or a car commercial, and you're like, Shazam, like what's that? And you can go find it, right? Whereas before, you have to like listen to the radio and be like, I hope he tells me what he just played, or you get a call. What was that?
Or
you
it's one of
know?
those songs that you never hear again, and it's just a distant memory. And
That's
it's
it,
like,
right? You know, so yeah, it's like, I mean, I've always been a fan, always be a fan. So as a fan, like this is like best time, man. Best time for these young artists to be able to get their music out without like, any of the kind of the industry BS that there was before. And just as a fan, being able to just get anything you want, records you forgot about, records that are impossible to find, they're like up online now, and it's great. I love it. Great time.
facts, man. That's big facts, man. So I'm curious, man. Growing up, did you always aspire to be in the music industry, or what did you want to be as a kid growing up?
I don't know, man. What 18-year-old knows what he wants what they want to do? I had nobody, man. I had no idea. Um, yeah, I it was kind of something I just, I don't say fell into, but um, just kind of happened, right? I mean, you're messing around making beats, you're listening to music that you like, trying to see if you can, make something that sounds kind of like that, or has that kind of feel. Um, and I mean, when I'm saying like that Under the Hood record, like hit it off for us. I mean, we were kind of messing around doing stuff for a little bit, and then kind of stumbled on that record. And I mean, I couldn't even tell you, like, that me doing that beat was like, oh, okay, this sounds nice, and you hook it up, and like you're not thinking much about it at the time. I'm not like in there like trying to make a hit record or like something that people are gonna love. You're just like, oh, okay. Um,
Real quick though. I
mm,
probably probably at that time for you though, you probably were doing this, out of passion, out of love though, right?
yeah. I mean, you're just doing it for fun, right? And you're doing stuff, just have fun. See if you can. For me, it's always like, hey, can I make a beat that sounds like that it could play next to, whatever, right? That someone's gonna want to spin is I don't want to say of that quality, but just is like of that level of professionalism that it, technically like you could play it. It doesn't sound like some piece of garbage. And then also just evokes an emotion that people want to listen to, right? And like, can you do that? Can you kind of tune, as a producer, can you hook into something? And then obviously, can you, keep making stuff, that progresses that, right? And so, um, like I said, we kind of were messing around, and then kind of fell onto that record, and that kind of like set us in a certain direction. And next thing you know, you're trying to like, shit, I don't know how many songs are on that Lonely City album, but whatever. You're trying to like, hey, can we have like 5 songs? Can like 10 songs? Like, can we do like 15? Like, I don't know. Like, what are we gonna do for 15? Like, it's all. I think, you know. I know a lot of artists talk about this, but it's like that first record. Like, you have your whole life to make it, right? I mean, and you don't have, in a lot of respects, you don't have the pressure. You're just having fun. You're just experimenting. You're just doing what you want to do for fun, like, and you don't really know if it's gonna like be something or not. Um, and lucky for us, people kind of responded to Under the Hood, and then people responded to the rest of the records. And then you're kind of chasing that high, right? For the rest for the rest of the rest of the time that you're making music and putting music out. But it's just Yeah, I mean the first record was just passion, man. That's all it was. Just me and Spence having fun and with Gozer and just trying to make a record, see if it would work.
Yeah, and that, man. So real quick, let me ask you this, man. I guess were you musically trained? Like, did you play any instruments?
Yeah. So like I said, with both my parents, being musical in one way or another, like, my mom was pretty adamant that go to music class and like learn how to play the piano. Like I'm not very good. I kind of didn't want to do that, but I can uh, it can pick out some notes. Not anywhere near as good as Spence. Played, like every most kids, like played in the band in and out for a little bit in high school, whatever. And then university. Um, like my first year, I basically flunked out because I went into like history or something stupid that what the hell you can do in history? You got to read a bunch of books. I don't want to do that. So like I did not do very well and was basically about to leave. And then I guess in that kind of first year, been kind of making beats and like playing around with like recording and stuff like that. In the university that we went to in Montreal had a fine arts degree that was kind of tilted towards kind of studio stuff, and it's kind of a mixture of like music, like real music theory stuff, and then studio techniques. And that's I kind of wrote up a little, letter and sent them some stuff and said, hey, like, can I please get in for my second year of university? And I got in. They let me in even with my bad grades. um, and so that's why I ended up doing university. So yeah, like music, like legit music theory stuff, and then the other half of that degree, because like I guess most people that do fine arts, like they go like learn to get a degree in playing the piano or in singing or in some instrument, right? And this one is like your degree, your instrument is like the studio, and then you have to do all the kind of music theory stuff with it. So managed to get through that. not, not gonna say I'm the best at music theory, but I faked it long enough to have them let me walk across the stage at the end. um,
But tell me this,
yeah.
bro. I guess when you first got into making beats,
Mhm.
what your original setup? What equipment were you using?
Mm, I had, shoot, I had in like high school, I don't even remember. It was like the Boss like DR 10, like some little sampler that had like 20 seconds of like sample time on it, like some little, I don't know, probably cost a couple $100 or something like that. And I was playing around with that, and it had like a little drum machine thing that you could hook up to it and like have some drum sounds or whatever. And so just learning how to like sequence and stuff. And then I think in that first year of university, I was like begging my mom, like, my grandma had left me like a couple $1,000 or something like that. And my mom's like, oh, like, you should put it in the bank or whatever. And I was like, Mom, I want to get this thing that I saw. It's called an MPC, right? I want to get this Akai MPC. It's like $2,000. I'm like, if I sell my equipment, I only need like $1,500. I'm like, Mom, let me have that money. Like, I don't want to put it in the bank. She's like, oh, I don't know. And I'm just was like, it's my money. Just left it to me anyways. I can do what I want. so so I got the Akai MPC 2000 XL, which was like the drum machine, right, along with the like SP 1200 and the AR, what was it, the uh, AS8, oh, fuck, what's the Ensoniq, I can't remember what it was, but like the keyboard one. um but yeah, I got that MPC, man, and I was like, this is amazing. Remember taking it home the first day. I was like, wow. I plug it in, and then I'm like, shit, there's no sounds on it. I'm like, these buttons don't work. I was like, is it broken? And it's like, I had a little thing that had drum sounds on it, and like the MP, you got to load everything. You want a drum kit, you got to load it. You want to sample something, you got to load everything. Like, we got to put all your sounds on it. And that's when I was like, oh, like sampling, like records, like all that kind of stuff. And then obviously that kind of spiraled, but that was, yeah, man, like that was, I say the first two specifics albums are like almost First Specifics album was 100% on the MP. My first solo record on the MP, and then the second Specifics one is like 50-50, right? Like I was like maybe hooking up like the drums and like the sample on that, and then I bring it into the computer, and maybe we do some, do some other stuff, or different filters and effects like that. But that was it, man. Just banging the hell out of that drum machine.
I told Spence, man, in my opinion, bro, I like Lonely City, man, but two, just that album two, that's my favorite album. Man. I think I love track on that album, bro. Seriously.
That was, yeah, man. That was a. I mean, we like I said, we did Lonely City. We were just like messing around or whatever, right? And then we had a manager at the time, right, that was like helping us with the label, and we were just doing our thing. And then classic industry stuff, some shady stuff went down with our manager. We were kind of adrift doing whatever, and I was like, man, like I think that record did okay. Like I think it like did good, right? I'm like, can we make like we should be able to make another one. Like people like that. Like we should be able to make another record, right? And so I got in touch with a mutual friend who kind of knew the same people at that label in Japan. Dude, this is like before like Skype. I mean, I guess maybe there was Skype back then, but like this is like email. You're like trying to like find something that there's no like chatting or even like FaceTime someone. Like texting. Like none of that stuff exists, right? So you're like it's hard to like find people, right? So uh, got a contact for them, and then like was like, hey, we're still here. Like, do you want another record? And they're like, yeah, like.
Oh, hold on, man. Hold on, bro. I want to go through all of this, bro. I want to put in like a timeline though, because right now we're like jumping back and forth, bro.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, you good. You good. I'm super excited to talk to you. So hold on. Real quick. So, you get into making music and everything, making everything. You meet Spencer at university.
Yeah.
Y'all put out Lonely City, and then you all get signed. Or like, what happens?
No, we got signed. So when Nujabes put us on with that record, like we released the 12-inch for Under the Hood, and then he put it on that compilation. And like off the strength of that, the label that we did all our records with in Japan, P-Vine, was like, hey, who are these people? Like, do they have more music? And we were like, yeah, we got, like I said, we got like whatever, 5-10 tracks or something. Like we're working on putting something together. And off the strength of Under the Hood, they signed us for one record. That was Lonely City. We put Lonely City out. And then that's, like I said, that came out probably like a year, between when we signed and like when we actually like got everything to them. And so like some time's elapsed. We're still trying to do our thing like in Canada and Montreal, but know that we have this record coming out of Japan.
How old
that was that?
How old were you when
Shit,
18, 21?
I'd have to look it up. 20, 22, 23, something like that, maybe, something like that. And so that record comes out, and like I said, like it's in Japan. Like, what do we know? Like, we were like, oh, okay, like they gave us a little bit of money and whatever, and like that was it. And as I said, we just kind of went back to doing our thing in Montreal, and trying to build ourselves up, and after that, kind of had that falling out with our manager, and that's where like we're like, oh, okay, like we did this record with this label in Japan, who knows what happened. I can't, I have to look at the dates and how much time elapsed, but basically, things had kind of come to a halt for us, and we're still like friends, we're still kind of making music and stuff, but we're like, okay, we did a record, but like, do we get to make a follow-up? And that's where I was kind of going into the fact where I was like, okay, I've got to like try and contact these people and ask them like, what's up? Like, because our manager had been the guy doing all of the communication, right? And so I had to call him up and be like, hey, this is thing Twice from Specifics. He doesn't represent us anymore. Like, you can talk to me. do you want another record? And then that's where I was like, they're like, yes, we would love one. We've been trying to contact you and find you and like get another record. So we're like, oh, okay, sweet. And so yeah, and then I think again, I'd have to look at the timeline, but I know I was working at the time, so I must have finished university. So yeah, it might have been a couple years after that. Then we had the opportunity to make two, and I also had the opportunity. I kind of twisted their arm. I was like, hey, I got more beats. Like, can I put out like a solo record, right? And so they said yes to that as well. And again, I have to look at the timeline. I don't know if like my first solo record came up before two and then two, but like we were basically working on both of them kind of at the same time, right? Because like we never stopped making music between Lonely City and when those records came out. So like we were always making music, and it was just when you get that green light from like, yes, we want another record, then you kind of go, okay, like what are the good songs? What ones are working? Like how do we want to fill this out? Like what are the pieces do we want to put together? And you really start kind of putting something together rather than just, making not singles, but just kind of making one-off tracks, right? You're not in that headspace.
I get you, man. I'm curious, man. Tell me this. I guess I would love to hear, man. What is your creative process like, man? Like, are you big into samples? Like, are you crate digging? Like, talk me through your process. I'm very curious.
Yeah, I mean, like almost all the records are samples. So back in the day, you're great. You hit it on the nail. Just crate digging. You spend all your money on records. You're like trying to find what you can, um, and just trying to find something, trying to hook it up. I mean, I've always, I'm. It takes me a long time to make stuff, So it's always been a kind of like beat your head against the wall. That's my creative process until you get something you think might work, right? I think it wasn't until uh, my second solo record, I think that came after two, where like for me, like I hit where I wanted to be and like my stride, and that's for me like it's great. I love that two is your favorite record. For me, my second solo record, as far as production, like that was it. Like that's exactly what I wanted to put out at that time. I think most of those records from production standpoint for me have stood the test of time. Whereas when I go back to like Lonely City and even some of the stuff on two, I'm kind of like,
Hey,
it's
hey, so
dated.
is your second one? Is that with the loop and some swing? What's your second one?
Shit, man.
Oh, man, I'm quizzing you.
It's
Right
Justin. You twist me. I gotta hang on. Let me go look it up.
because bro, your solo
What the
record
heck is
too, bro. I'm not gonna lie,
Rock
man.
to the Rock to this beat? It's right. Yeah, I should don't even my number record. It's so old. I'm so old. It's Rock to this beat is the second one.
But is the first one
Uh,
with the and some? Is it with the loop and some?
with a loop and some swing. Yeah, with a loop and some swing.
That's your
Which
first one.
is which is that's the first one. Which
Ah,
is we're talking about the MP. Like the MP has the loop and the
uh
swing.
huh.
The swing parameter, and that's
Okay.
it's kind of a stupid joke, but
Those records are fire, bro. Your singles are fire. Singles are fire.
so but yeah, I mean that's yeah, for me from a production standpoint, like that was that's my favorite out of five of them, because I did one more after that, which I didn't really love, but it's out there.
Let me ask you this. So, when you're looking for a record to sample, is it you just sitting down and listening to it, trying to find something that you could loop or something you could cut up? Is that how you go about it?
Yeah, I mean you're just listening for something that you know to that point where you think you could chop it. I think as well it's like when you're, I guess I think of, when I think about records, I also think about emotion, right? And like you're trying to create like sonically like an emotion. I know it kind of sounds kind of cheesy, but you're trying to capture something like that. And so it's you're also looking for that, right? Like something that's gonna kind of put you in that headspace or put you in that mood that like you can either by looping it or chopping it, and then you're gonna hook up some drums and it's gonna kind of like you know hit someone, hopefully connect, right? Because that for me, like all my favorite records are like that, right? I could listen to them, you know, forever. I mean, I think about like shit, man. Like, Find a Way by Tribe. Every time that record comes on, man, like, right? Everybody, that beat, like, the flow, like everything. I know that band was breaking up at that point, and still like they captured on that one record, like, just magic for me at least. And so you're always trying to. That's what I'm trying to find. It's either you're taking like pieces from here, pieces from there, to try and build that up and create kind of a space for Spence or whoever else to do their thing on top of it, right?
Okay, I understand that, man. Let me ask you this, bro. So it's one thing, to make a beat. It's just you making the beat. Tuning it to how you think is cool. Tell me about, I guess the process once you bring Golden Boy in. What is that? How do y'all collaborate? How do y'all work together to make a track work, man? How do you do that?
I think in in the beginning, dude, like we were just experimenting almost, right? You're just kind of like doing whatever, and as you kind of get more into music, you're like, oh, there's a structure, like so, like your verses should be like around this much, and then we should like have like a hook or something or whatever. Like I don't know, like okay, you know. I think with Golden Boy, like he he has his style, man. His style, like
Laid back drunk.
yeah, but also like his wordplay and the way and the way he makes his verses, man. Like I mean, I'm not I'm not counting bars. Like in some of my other records, like I'm counting bars on people, right? I'm like, okay, you got to be done by this point because like we're bringing the hook or like we're switching up to the other person, right? And like with Golden Boy, it's like he's gonna write what he's gonna write, and I'm just gonna try and you're gonna try and make it work. you know and put the pieces together, and I mean that's it. And I mean yeah, man, he'll come with his rhymes, and we'll kind of just try to find a beat that works with it, a tempo that works with it, and kind of go from there. And so it's like with my solo records or stuff I've done with other people, like I'd probably be a lot more involved, right? You should do this, you should do this. I want you in, out, I want you here, I want you there. With Gold, it's just I'm just trying to get a beat that's going to connect with him and it's going to inspire him to do what he does, right? Because I know that's what people tuning in for. So I'm just trying to get stuff that works for him, right? And they can be tough for me sometimes because like I said, like I'm not. I was watching a, a video with Night Wonder. He's like, "Yeah, I make like 4 beats a day." I'm like, Jesus, man, like like before lunch, I'll take lunch and take the afternoon off. And I'm like, I feel like if I get, 4 beats in a week, like if I was working at it full time, like just, so yeah, it's just, like I said, I'm just trying to get him stuff that inspires him. And then once you've got the collection of tracks, then it's like, okay, what works together, right? Like as a cohesive kind of story for an album. And then you're like in what progression, right? With the way the music flows, the tempo flows sonically, and then if Spence has got some themes that work in a certain way, right? Then you try to move those pieces around, and then that's your album, right?
So I'm very curious, man. When I guess for any and all the albums, Did you all have, I guess, creative freedom, or like was there like, I don't know, some A&R rep telling you you should do this, you should do that, or like, how did that work for you?
Yeah, there was an A&R. I mean, I think, you know, we, after Lonely City and after Under the Hood, like, I know Spence spoke on this a little bit, like, there's a genre in Japan that like is that, right? And we were kind of in there following after Nujabes, but like there's a million people that have come after that on whatever, like those like lo-fi chill hip hop beat. It's like a genre now, right? And definitely, I'd say like we have for Spence. I mean, I don't know. I'd be interested to hear like really what his thoughts were like for his lyrics. I would like to think that he had carte blanche, like just do whatever you want, right? I think for me, I definitely felt that pressure of like, okay, but I've got to make records that like kind of go in a certain vein and are kind of cohesive in a certain way. And obviously that's going to impact Spence in the way that like when I'm trying to inspire him to write, but like in terms of like you can only say this or you have to like you know write a simple rhyme pattern that people can remember or like have a really 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 catchy hook. Like it was like I'd hope that he felt he didn't have to do that, whereas like we definitely had to kind of work in a certain space, which I think at the beginning worked for us because like that's what we were doing. And then you kind of grow and you want to try new things, or you know we all listen to the radio, so like when stab music came out, like you're like, oh, like let's switch out the snares and put in some stabs, like let's pitch those kicks down, like let's put some 808s under that, like let's make it thumping, right? And so that y- y- that was always a struggle. And towards the end, um like for me, like rock to this beat, right? Like I said, like I was really happy with where that, like I got to, like I felt like I could bridge that gap of kind of what I wanted to do and what they wanted to do. And that was a big record, man. That was our, of all the records, that was the most successful record commercially. And then after that, they were like, you have to do this, you have to do that. I'm like, you let me do what I wanted to do, and I just made a hit record, like legit, like charted. And
But
now, like,
which one you talking? This beat or Under the Hood? Which one?
rock to this beat. That
Okay.
was that album. Like was, I mean, briefly we got up on the charts. Like we were top 10 in Japan. I had like a radio record off of that.
Nice.
Um, and so I'm like let's do it again. And they were like, oh, we want you to do this. Like they're constantly pushing what I guess would be that lo-fi, chill, jazzy hip hop thing, like constantly, and piano forward, always piano forward. So like pushing, pushing, pushing. And so they're, yeah, so that kind of, that and a couple other factors is kind of like for me, towards the end of that run, um, is kind of what kind of made me not want to do records commercially anymore, because it's just like you always get into it. It's fun. You can just do whatever you want. You're making music with your friends. You're lucky you make a couple bucks and off of it or whatever, and then it becomes a job. You
Okay.
know,
Uh, so,
and
so I'm very curious, man. You would know this better than I. So, was specifics? Were you all bigger in Japan than you
oh
were
yeah, man.
North
Oh
America?
yeah. Oh
Okay.
yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, that cosign from the Nujabes, like it was huge, right? Like that, and I mean, he co-signed, a great record. Like I still love that record. I still listen to it. So, and that creates some fans that want to hear what you got to do, right? And then that just we were able to keep kind of feeding that, and put music out for a couple of years, and that kind of builds it. Whereas, you know, in North America, or I mean in North America, if you're from Canada pre Drake, I mean, dude, like it's not happening for you. I mean, Cardinal was like beating on that door for like a decade, right? And like finally got that hit with Akon, and then basically paved the way for Drake to go in and just take off, right? Um, so like coming from Canada, it's tough to break into. Was tough to break into the States at that time, and I mean Canada has a couple of cities that are pretty far away from each other where you could really do anything, and um, it, you're dealing with radio, you're dealing with like how do you make a video to like get on the TV so people know about you. This is like pre MySpace, like pre all of this stuff, right? Where you're just like trying to get into that like big money industry game. So we just and we're not making the type of music we were making. We were into it, but it's not like that's not mainstream. It's not mainstream music. So that's not people are not spinning it on the radio, like on like big radio. Like people are not like gonna fund you to make a video. Like um so we just we wasn't for lack of trying, but just like the music just connected in Japan, man. And with so many other artists, there's so many people like just like us that were able to carve out a niche in Japan and do that, and not maybe not see the same success
Yeah.
in their home.
I'm curious, man. I think I think I read a story where you were actually able to visit Japan and meet Nujabes. Is that right?
Yeah. So we
About that, but I'm a big. I first knew about Nujabes, and then I heard about you all. So I'm very. Tell me about tell me about that experience being able to meet June Seba.
uh this was crazy, man. So I mean, I talked to him like we done I done one or two other 12 inches because he had his record store, and so he would like bankroll singles to carry. So we had done a couple of things together, and just again just emails back and forth, right? Never no, there's no FaceTime or anything like that. Um, yeah, and then we got the opportunity to go out and do some shows, and it's crazy, man. Like we did the show and then like get off and walk back, and our A&R is like, hey, this is Jen, he wants to meet you. I was like, oh shit. I'm talking to him then, and people are like, whoa, dude, all the fans know who he is out there. I was like, this is crazy, right? So got to meet him the night of the show, and then we got to hang out with him a couple more days after that. Went over to his place. Spence did a record with him, hung out in the studio for a while, and just got to know him. And he's a legend, and just an awesome guy. And hearing how he passed and everything was a shock and devastating. So I'm just thankful. I still have my signed poster. It's downstairs from him. So I was a fan, and so just being able to meet him and have that time with him, it's definitely something I've always cherished and always will continue to do so. So it was really a blessing to meet him.
Yeah, R.I.P. June Seba, bro. If I'm
Yeah,
not
man.
mistaken, if I'm not mistaken, I think him and Jay Dilla have the same birthday.
I wouldn't know.
I
I'll
think,
take your word for
yeah,
it.
if I'm not mistaken, man, which is like super coincidental, man. But yeah,
Yeah,
R.I.P. him, R.I.P. Jay Dilla, man. R.I.P.
yeah, man.
Mad Villain, bro. MF Doom, believe my. Um, real quick, man, I would love to hear, man. Tell me about your time touring, man. What was it like being a touring rap
Oh,
group?
this is the thing. This is the thing, man. Like we weren't. Like we only got the opportunity to go out there once. Um, we had another offer, but timing didn't work out after that we could have gone out. And I think for me, like dude, I just like to make beats. Like, I'm not a DJ. you know, that's why we had Gozer, because I'm like, I don't know, like I can press play, but like I can't I can't rock shows. So like we need someone to help out with that, and we brought him in and do cuts. It's like I can't do any of that. So um so we weren't like we did shows and stuff around Montreal. I think we did maybe one or two in Toronto. But we weren't like that wasn't our thing. And I'd say as well, like um, that's just because like people gotta know you like to book you, right? And like if we're not blowing up in Canada in any big way, you know, you're gonna try and get on shows, but like it's not gonna be a thing. And also in that I as well, like I mean, when we had our manager, like we opened up, he got us to open up for Cardinal. We opened up for Common. Like, he got us in some big stages, for sure. But then again, when we had that falling out, and it was like me trying to make beats and like work with the label to try and get records out, like, dude, I'm not a manager, like, and so there's also like, you need that person. Either you got to be that person like just hustling like crazy, but then like how am I gonna like work my job and like make beats and do all that kind of stuff. And so we didn't really have that person after that. And so I think that as well, like if you just don't have someone out there grinding for you, um, trying to get trying to get your name out there and do all that stuff, it's hard. It's hard when you got a bunch of other stuff going on to like do that too, right? So yeah, I mean that, and I think when I look at when I look at like our decision too, probably to like really uh you know try to like make a career out of it or whatever, like obviously touring is a huge source of income, right? Doing shows and stuff like that. And if we're not really doing that in any big way, and all you're really relying on is record sales, which like like CD sales at that point, like it's a tough economic proposition to like to make work, right? Which is why I look to these artists today, man, with streaming, dude. Like you don't gotta press up CDs. Like you just put your stuff up on Spotify and then like whatever, however you get people to listen to it, you do that part. But like there's not that like
Record overnight.
barriers, right? Was that?
I said you can have a hit record overnight, right?
Absolutely, man. You just have a TikTok video and then you're Lil Nas X. Right?
Let me ask
So
you this, man, real quick. I'll ask you this, man. Answer this question however you choose, positive or negative, man. But I guess looking back on your, I don't know, now your brief rap career, man, are there any things that you maybe regretted or wish you could have done again?
I think the only thing that I regret uh, is when I said we had another opportunity to go to Japan. There was like after Nujabes passed, there was like a concert for him, right, with like everybody, and like we got the call to go, and like I said, the timing just did not work. Like literally, like I was out of the country. I would have to come back, like get my passport renewed in 24 hours, and like be on a plane out to Japan, right? With like no place to like. It was like a crazy proposition. Um, and I think, like I was saying, like what he had done for us and everything like that, it wouldn't have worked. But that's one thing that I do wish that could have been a part of, for a lot of reasons. But other than that, I mean, I you know I think we made the best run that we could at it, and um, have have people like yourself that still still want to talk to us. And for me, it's like if you got one person that you impacted, man, I'm like, that's more than we ever thought we'd do, right? Like seriously, like you're just making records for fun, and then all of a sudden, like people are like, I want to listen to this, and then people are like, we want more, like we want to put a record out, like and I don't think either of us were really looking for that, right? We were just having fun, and so it became something that was like more than we ever imagined, and so it all is you know is something that you kind of look back on as something cool you did. And like I said, you managed to touch some people and bring some positivity into their lives, and that's good enough for me.
I mean, bro, so I heard about you all. Got into your records, man. Started introducing my friends. You know, that's just how it spreads, though, man. You know, one person finds it. So it's a couple of us from Virginia, man, still bumping y'all, man. I want you to know that you definitely had an impact, man.
All right.
Yep.
Nice man. Nice man. I like I said, every time I hear from someone, I always appreciate it, and it's amazing. Like you're from Virginia, bro. Like, we never went there. I never released a record there.
So
So go ahead.
have you heard of the website Reddit?
Yeah, of course, man.
All right, so I mean, you know,
Bro, I'm on Wall Street bets every day. Just looking for that next GameStop tip.
Hey, come on. Hey, all right, bet. I mean, well, so you might know of a hip hop head.
I don't. You're
Okay,
telling me
well,
about it right now. I'll write it down. I'll go check it out.
but it's just you know, it's one of the hip hop subreddits, and you know, every once in a while somebody will post one of your songs, man. So you still out there, bro.
I like that. Let's be on there.
I don't wanna hold you up, man. But tell me this, man. You said that after you put out "Rock to This Beat," you know, you kind of maybe lost your love for the music industry. I'm curious, man. You know, I guess you know what happened with your life after producing music.
Yeah. So that would have been that came out in like '08, I think, because I just remember that was like financial crisis. And that was '08, right?
September.
Rock to This Beat. Yeah. So that came out. It did better than I thought it would. And it was great. So you're riding high, and then obviously 2008 happens. And when I went back to the label to be like, hey, like let's do a follow up, they're like, times are tough, like all this kind of BS, and kind of we talked about some ideas. We kind of came up with this project that I ended up doing, and in the process of going through, excuse me, in the process of going through that, I think I just like that was like heavily A&R, like heavy. That last one that I did, and I think going through that, I was like, man, like this sucks. Like like it got to the point where literally like we had done all these records with P Vine. I had a great relationship with them, and going through that, like I started calling up with the labels, being like, man, like you want this right? Like you want like literally like looking to go somewhere else. I mean, ultimately we I stayed with them and we did that record with P Vine, but um, I think just going through that and just kind of soured me on just industry stuff, and I was just like, man, like I don't want to, like, this sucks, like this isn't fun anymore, right? And so I just started being like, well, what else am I gonna do? Right? So after kind of '08, '09, I moved back from Montreal to where I'm at now, Vancouver. So that was in 2010, and then, dude, Cliff knows this. I went back to school, became an accountant. I got married, I had a kid. Now I'm talking to you. Got a real job. I grew up.
Okay. Hey, real quick,
But,
what's the name of that last record that you
oh shit, man. Hang on one second.
is that the one Supernova or no?
Hang on.
Puffy Coats, not that one.
Not that one. Jazz Carnival. So I hooked up with this piano player called David Rishpan. He's a guy from Montreal, and we kind of collaborated on this record, which is, again, like I was saying, like the label was piano, like jazzy hip hop, like, right. And so we kind of did this record, and there's some stuff that I like about it, but just the process of doing it with them, again, just kind of soured me. on wanting to do that. And this is, one of the other things when you were asking about regret, and this is not a regret at all. It's just when I've like looked back on kind of, the times that we lived through, you know, like we got into the music business when CDs were dying, right? And we existed in the music business before, up until the point before streaming took off, right? Like, iTunes was like, but you're still having to like buy an iTunes record and like buy a single, and like that's a lot of commitment for, for people, right? Like, and so, you if I was like now, if I was like, hey, we want to do records now, I'm like, sweet, man. Like, I don't know, like we just make some records and then figure out like whatever, what service we want to put it on and just put it up, and do whatever we want, and not have like, and then it's up to the fans whether it's going to connect with them or not, right? As long as like, we like it and we think it's, stacks up, with our other work and is good, we want to listen to it again. It's not just throw it away. You can just kind of put it out there. And so I think for me, like, that's where we had to go through a label, right? We were never, we're not Jay-Z and Dame Dash with like Rockefeller and do whatever you want. You're in the boat with everybody else having to work with a label, and that's a process. And ultimately they're not going to put something out that they don't really want to. We were not. The other thing is we never got to the level of like, Kanye. You're just going to tell them this is my record. They're like, okay, So that I didn't like doing that. And like I said, the fun was out of it. And if you're not having fun doing this job, like it's hard enough as it is, putting your stuff out there, being judged by people, not making very much money. So like, if you're not having fun, there's other things you can do with your life, which is ultimately what I think both of us chose to do.
I understand that, man. Like I said, I won't hold you up, man. But real quick, I gotta know, man. And I already answered this, but um, you know, do you have? Is there any chance of maybe another instrumental tape, another specific album? Is there any chance anything in the future, man?
What does Spence say?
Hey, so keep it 100. Keep it 100, man. I think Spencer's actually gonna be on a record soon.
Oh yeah.
I think so. Somebody hit me up and said, "Man, I'm recording a track with Golden Boy." I was like,
all right.
"Here when it come out."
All right. Okay. So I'll look for that. I'll see if we still got it.
Hey, so wait, what about you? What about another instrumental tape, something like that? I know you still got it.
Yeah, man, I got beats.
Come on, man. Hey, the people need to hear it. I want to hear it.
Look, I would say this. I'll answer it this way, and this is the truth. I didn't go out the way I wanted to go out. And again, that's not a regret. But I just didn't go out the way I wanted to go out. And so there's always in the back of my head, like, oh, do you have one more record in you? And I got the name. I already know what it is. I've had the name for years of the record, but the other thing is like, I got a kid, I got a job, and there's only so many hours in the day, right? And so I know people always asking for more, and it's not like we don't want to give you more, but going down that road and getting into that headspace, like if I want to do it, if I just said I didn't go out the way I want to go out, that means I got to go in and I got to give it 100% and put out something that I really want to put out, that I'm really happy with, and not just be like slap something out and be like, here, you've asked for more, here's more, but they're all like sea level, they're throwaways, so that's that's the best way I can answer it. And I don't want to. I don't. You know, in a
You make
perfect world, yeah. In a perfect world, I'd love to put something else out and kind of bookend everything. Um, when and is that when and if when is that going to happen? Is that gonna, I don't know. And I think as well, part of being an artist as well is just like dealing with self doubt. Like, do I still got it? Like, as I said, I listen to everything that comes out now, and I'm like, shit, man. Like, these kids like cranking out stuff off their freaking phones better than I ever made, right? So, it's like, is my stuff even like relevant anymore? So, there's all that kind of stuff that goes on as well, which is part of being an artist for anybody. But yeah, it's kind of a non-answer, but that's what you get.
quick, man. Let me say this first. We still want to hear it, bro. I don't care what you say. We still want to hear it. And second off, man, I think we would be more so interested in hearing, I guess, your maturation, maturing as a producer, as a person, man. I wouldn't want you to or expect you to put out another Under the Hood, if you get what I'm saying. You're a completely different person now, so I would expect you to have a different ear, a different personality, different taste, man. So I would want to hear something new, something different from you, man. That's just, that's what I think. I think you should do it, man. I want you to do it. Yeah, that's simple as that, bro.
You'll be the first to know.
Hey Phil, I don't hold you up any longer, man. I want to thank you
Oh,
so much, bro, for taking time to talk to me today,
of
man.
course, yeah. It's my pleasure, man. Absolutely.
Come on. Um, I already told you, bro. You're one of my favorite producers, man. I love what you did. I love what you're doing, bro. I got so much love for you, big bro. Thank you so much, man.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Absolutely.
Hey, hey, so wait, real quick. I mean, I probably know this, but is there anything that you want to plug? Anything you want to share with the people, man?
I was just stay tuned. That's all I could say.
Hey, hey,
Yeah. I mean, well, if I get it, if I can get it together, like I said, I'd love to go out on a bookend record for myself. Um, we'll see. And I mean, if Spence is getting back to the game and doing some stuff, well, I'll be tuning in just like everybody else to hear what he's up to and where he's at for sure.
real quick, man. I know you're probably super personal, man, but if you feel comfortable, man, like how can people reach out to you if you're comfortable with that? How can they get in contact with you if they want to?
Um, I
Comfortable.
just hit me up. Just DM me on IG. It's at Think Twice MTL, and I mean I'm there. Uh, People used to hit me up on SoundCloud. I'll be honest, I don't go on SoundCloud that much anymore. But I'm on IG pretty much, like everybody else. I'm on there all the time, just wasting away my brain. Yeah, just hit me up. I'm here. Like I said, I got a kid. I got a job. I'll get back to you. Maybe not immediately, but kid's 18 months and he's running around keeping me and his mom up at all hours. So sometimes it takes me a while to get back, but I'm here and I'm definitely reach out. I'm down to say hi to anybody.
Hey, perfect, man. Real quick, think twice. Um, last thing, is there, any last words, anything you want to say before we close this episode, man?
I'm just, like Spence kind of said, man, I'm happy to talk to anybody that's been a fan. Cause like for me, beyond us just having fun and making music that we liked, hearing from people that really connected with the music, like, it's cliche, but like, that's what it's about. Right. It's not about any of the other noise. Right. So just hearing people that connect with the records, still playing the records, still telling me that they haven't dated too much, they're not sounding too janky and old. It's good, man. It was a special time for both of us, and it's just happy to hear people still enjoying it. Absolutely.
Hey, bro, facts, man. I said it once, I said it twice, I'm saying it again, man. Thank you so much, Phil, for coming on the show, man. I thoroughly
Absolutely.
enjoyed talking to you, man.
It's been a pleasure. Absolutely. It's been a pleasure.
All right, big. I'm gonna say take it easy, Phil.
All right. Later, bro.
All right.
That's all it is.
Hey everyone, if you made it this far to all to the end of the video, I want to thank you so much. My overall goal with making these interviews and these episodes is to give a voice to dancers, to give them a platform to speak their story. So if this is of value to anyone, then that means the world to me. My overall goal is to give value to the dance community. So, if you find no value in this, then I urge you to please let me know where I can improve on. I truly want to, just give value and content to the dance community. So, please let me know how I can improve, where I'm messing up, because to be 100% honest with you, I'm learning along the way as I do this. I truly am. So to be able to interact with the dance community, it means the world to me, because it gives me feedback and it lets me know what I'm doing right, where I can improve upon, what I'm doing wrong, which I feel like might maybe more important. So please, if you all could comment and just let me know what you think, it means the world to me, because that feedback just helps me improve. So please comment as well. Please like and subscribe. That means a lot as well. But I want to say thank you so much for just watching this, because it means the world to me. I want to take you on this journey of the Two Left Feet podcast. I'm very excited for it. So once again, thank you so much.